Hello, welcome to today's audio log. The time is 7:42 p.m. on the 23rd of May 2024. And I've just had an idea before I started this to do something a little bit different for today's audio log. I have spent a lot of time today rewriting my new character's backstory, the character that I will be playing as in the new, basically D&D campaign starting next week. I did write one version, I guess the first version of it yesterday, but last night I learned of some new interesting lore, and I wanted to include it into my backstory. So I spent today completely rewriting my backstory, and I wanted to maybe read it out, or, read it and just kind of do that for the audio log instead today. I am no writer. I went to school. I learned how to write, obviously, but beyond my high school education, I have no experience or talent writing like stories or anything like that. So you might think it's really bad, and that's okay. But this is what I have so far, and I don't know. Hopefully you enjoy it. So yeah, I'm gonna start. Born into a mundane family and raised as such, Zeal wasn't expected to amount to much more than a simple farmhand. His parents managed a modest area of land in a small town at the foot of a mountain range. They led an honest life, working hard to provide for themselves and their son. Exciting things rarely happened in this dull town, so his parents were shaken when Zeal's innate magic revealed itself. Not only is magic condemned in some parts of the world, but it is dangerous and often invokes fear in the eyes of the public. His parents knew that they had to do something if they were going to protect their son. They anxiously searched for answers, meeting with medicinal experts, holy priests of a church, and even nomadic tribes who practiced obscure spiritual rituals. Nothing they tried provided the answers they sought. Therefore, they were left with one final option: the hidden monastery atop the mountains that had loomed over them their entire lives. They were only aware of its existence through rumors and whispers spoken among their neighbors. But they were desperate and had to try. Two enrobed individuals greeted Zeal's parents upon arrival, as if they had been expecting their visit. The parents explained the situation to the disciples, breaking down into tears as they did so. It didn't take long for the monastery's disciples to realize what was happening to the boy. They offered to take him in as one of their own, to educate, train, and protect young Zeal until he could look after himself. Zeal's parents hesitated to agree, knowing they'd likely be unable to stay with him. However, they were out of options, and eventually they reluctantly accepted the offer and said goodbye to their son. Corvash is an unlikely place for a boy to grow up. It's built precariously on the peak of the Razorwind Mountains. It is shrouded in a perpetual mist, veiling it from most of the world. However, a haunting melody of chimes can often be heard on the wind as they are carried through the valley. It is carved from the living rock itself, and maintained by numerous disciples known as the Children of the Starstorm, who are themselves under the watchful eye of Master Abbess Anya. Zeal began training at 6 and was unique among his fellow disciples due to learning 2 traditions simultaneously. It wasn't easy, but neither was the life of a magic wielder. He'd have to learn to control his powers, tempering them against his strengthened will and resolve, lest he succumb to the madness that accompanies magic. He practiced discipline, patience, generosity, and virtue, developing his mind, body, and spirit. Over time, he grew more competent in his abilities, and in addition to his new physical prowess, he could maintain a degree of control over his magic. Despite his strict schedule, Zeal was occasionally granted permission to purchase supplies from the town at the foot of the mountain range. He relished these opportunities as they awarded him a break from his training and, more importantly, a chance to visit his friend Marluxia, a boy of a similar age committed to the local church. They'd often play together, explore the nearby forest, or simply talk and catch up. On one such visit, an incident occurred, resulting in the accidental exposure of Zeal's magic to Marluxia. No harm was done. However, at that moment, Zeal realized the dangers of his powers to those around him, and he ran back to his home amongst the clouds, leaving Marluxia in a state of shock. It wasn't long before Zeal returned to town, and this time he was greeted by Marluxia and a mysterious stranger with an expressionless look on his face. The stranger explained why they were there and what was about to happen, giving Zeal little opportunity to protest. Marluxia was to recite the Oath of the Watchers and become the one responsible for Zeal's execution should his madness ever take over and his powers become unstable, endangering those around him. On the dawn of his 18th birthday, Zeal attended his ascension ceremony, marking the conclusion of his formal training and raising him to a full-fledged member of Corvash, officially entitling him Child of the Starstorm. And that's it. It's not completely finished. I still want to add a little bit onto the end, but that's pretty much it. I would have loved to put more detail into it, and I've actually had to restrain myself from doing so because this is meant to be a backstory. It's not supposed to be a full novel explaining every little detail that this character went through. It's supposed to be fairly concise, and at the moment it's just over 700 words, and I still want to add more to it, so I've had to cut things out and, keep it a bit concise. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you didn't gather, my character's name is Zeal, and he was given up by his parents in favor of protection from the disciples of a monastery, because these disciples have, control over magic or whatever. So it was the best place for him to go. And yeah, so just kind of following the early years of his life in this backstory. Yeah. So I hope you like it. Whoever's listening to this, please let me know, maybe in the comments, if it's good, if it's bad, whatever. Like I said, I'm no writer, but I've enjoyed doing this, and yeah, I'm probably going to do some more. So I think I'm going to call it there for today. That is today's audio log. Aside from that, my day's been great. So yeah, not much more to talk about there, but I'll be back tomorrow for the next one. So thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Good night.